Hello, welcome back, Viking sports followers. So today we'll be catching up with Shane Watson with a nice interview. Catch up what's going on with SJAM boxing this year. Anything he may know that's exclusively coming up. So we'll get him on and we'll start the interview. Right, mate, how you doing?
Oh, what's going on, man? You alright?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. How's things been?
All good, man. Do you know what? It's
Yeah.
been good. A really busy start to the year. Lots of good news coming. That's really good. Really
Yeah.
good so far.
That's good to know. So obviously, new year, a lot of updates to come. Obviously, this month's been wiped out the window for boxing.
Yeah.
Firstly, I want to talk Joyce. Obviously, a fantastic win against Dubois, which a lot of us saw coming. He's a young kid. He's got a lot of prospect for the future. Joe's obviously got the titles. Obviously, there's talk around Usyk and him, taking Usyk to one side. Joshua and Fury potentially can get that deal done, which looks like next couple of weeks we'll get some form of announcement on that. So, what are the plans for Joe? Is it Usyk next, or is there another British fighter potentially that he's wanting to set eyes on?
Well, yeah. Obviously, it was a great win by Joe. Joe's profile and name is now times by about 15 million.
Yeah.
Like everyone's. Actually, just today I was on. I've been working with him doing media calls with the Sun, the Mirror, the Independent. Everyone's just trying to get hold of him these days. Last few days actually, and really good news, really positive movements and talks with Usyk's team. Obviously, that is the fight that Joe wants. Joe would take way less money to fight a way harder fight if it gives him more reward, as in the title.
Yeah,
he would, because that's the kind of guy that he is. He achieved a lot as an amateur, and he wants to achieve a lot as a professional. He wants to be a world heavyweight champion. That's always been the plan.
Yeah.
That's always been the idea. And now we're not just one fight away from being world champion. We're potentially 2 away from being undisputed.
Yeah.
Realistically, So that's what we've got to look at. People might laugh and think that, Joe Joyce has got no chance against Usyk or no chance against Fury or AJ. But you know what? It's heavyweight boxing. Everyone that's in these fights has earned their right to be there. You don't just get there because it's like a lucky lottery ticket.
No, definitely. So obviously, if that fight comes off, obviously the mandatory position is already in place, and as you said, there's the potential if the Fury AJ fight does get made, then obviously that could be and should be the next fight he's looking at after that. With the Usyk fight, obviously it's not an easy fight. Obviously, there's people that are disputing whether he is going to be a good heavyweight or whether he was the cruiserweight was just that was his class and that's what he should be. Obviously, we've seen many fighters come up from cruiserweight and haven't been as successful as a heavyweight. How do you see Joe's game plan? If that comes off the Usyk fight, what would you see his game plan? Because obviously people at the moment don't really know. He's quite a quick, puncher kind of fighter. Doesn't really let you get away with a lot.
Yeah, I mean, at this level, there shouldn't be easy fights. I think before, when it was a Klitschko era, like to get a final eliminator, it was just so easy. You would have to beat some blown up cruiserweight and you'd get a world title shot, and it just wasn't really world level boxing.
Yeah.
Back then, we had one fight that was world level, and that was Klitschko on his own, and the rest just weren't. Being realistic, apart from David A, I mean, the rest of them just weren't. And now, heavyweight boxing, especially in the UK, is dominating the world scene, and it's so competitive at every level. Look at Dylan White getting blown up by Povetkin. You're getting, you've got Wilder to come back yet. You've got so many good and big names. Like it's just you've got Frank Sanchez. You've got so many good heavyweights around the top 15. You still got Luis Ortiz in there knocking about. You've still got so many good fighters. So Joe Parker, and whatnot. Daniel DeBar can still come back again, and it's just there's so many good fights to be made, and I'm really excited because Joe will rise to the occasion. He'll have a game plan to beat Usyk, and we will go in there 100% believing we beat Usyk, and Joe believes that as well. Because we don't take fights just for the sake of taking it. Usyk isn't a heavyweight. Let's just be honest, he isn't.
Yeah.
And you know, you're in there against one of the biggest heavyweights there is, and he's an absolute handful. He uses his
Yeah,
size. There's a lot. Joe showed another aspect to his game as well, that he can actually box as well. You know,
yeah,
a lot of people were acting like he didn't. I mean, you don't get Olympic, which should have been gold medals, but obviously silver medals if you can't box. Yeah,
yeah,
but that is boxing fundamentals. Is the amateurs. That's what it is. So, you know, and yeah, we're very confident of it. Yeah, it's a tough fight, and so it should be.
yeah,
Why should we be fighting for the WBO interim or full or however it ends up turning out for an easy fight? It should be the
yeah,
hardest fights there are. That's the way to earn your right to fight Joshua or Fury. You should be having these kind of fights, and you have to get them kind of wins.
yeah,
Otherwise, you haven't earned your right to be there. It's not like now where you see Yildirim fighting Canelo. He's not earned his right to be there whatsoever.
yeah,
Who's he beaten? He hasn't won a fight since 2018.
yeah,
We're in 2021, and now he gets to fight Canelo. That, for me, is not earning your right to be there. Yeah, and I could say that same about many other fighters, but you know, earning your right to be there, beating Usyk, and also that gives Joe a lot more confidence and experience going into one of the big fights as well.
yeah,
You know, beating Usyk, that would really make that close to a 50-50 fight of any of those top boys, because Usyk, everyone knows how skillful he is, and he's a handful, and he's a problem for anyone,
yeah,
on
yeah,
any given day. He is a handful just off his boxing excellence and his IQ. It's a problem for anyone, you know.
yeah,
So that alone would make that close to 50-50 fight, and it makes it a big fight as well. And obviously Joe's here to win world heavyweight titles first and foremost, but also it'd be nice to earn some really good money out of the sport as well, you know, which he
yeah,
has so far already. But the more the merrier, and you know, it's an exciting year for Joe. Do you know what? He's now going to end up being the number one boy at BT Sports, the top man
yeah,
now, because I think Daniel Dubois was that before, and now obviously Joe's beating him emphatically. And yeah, it's exciting times. A really exciting year for him. Every time he speaks to him about boxing, his face just glows and lights up. He's really excited. He's back in the gym now, actually. Back in the
okay,
gym training. And we're ready. We're ready to go.
yeah. And with the fight, obviously, if it does get made, obviously, this is you having good discussions with his promotion company, so it's obviously it's moving in the right direction. Is that a fight for Joe and Usyk that really needs to be in some form of a crowd? Because if you do look at the likes of Joe does progress, he beats Usyk. The next in line is either going to be Tyson Fury or AJ. Those sort of fights do not happen behind closed doors. It just will not happen. It
Yeah.
needs to be in front of some crowd. Because it's been so long since there's been crowds, especially for the likes of Joe Joyce, who's been fighting, it's been behind closed doors with a lot of fighters. But the fight is a big fight, and him leading into that next fight, possibly, he would he need to have the fans there, because obviously they do give an edge with those bigger fights. Do you think that would affect him, and that it needs to be in front of a crowd potentially, or he doesn't care? It just get the fight made and go ahead with it.
I mean, we're in a time right now where obviously it'd be ideal to have a crowd. I mean, number one, you're gonna have more, you're gonna earn more money. Number two,
Mm-hmm.
it's a massive and it's a great fight. Obviously, you want the fans there, you want that experience around it. You know, you want everyone to have that great time because it is a great fight, and it's the same for any big fight that's been happening. But you know, you can't not plan ahead and take big fights because of it. You know, we could be here a
Yeah,
year down the line, and then what we're still. Then it's almost like the victory against Daniel's just worn off. You know.
yeah,
So I mean, if it means you have to take a pay cut again, if it means you have to, then so be it. I mean, Joe's in the fight business. He wants to fight. He loves to
mm-hmm.
fight, and we want to push on and keep that momentum going. We've got great
Yeah,
momentum. There's great buzz around the team. Everyone's excited. Most importantly, he's excited, and it's just why not just go in there? You know, Joe's not getting any younger. Usyk's not getting any younger, so it's just why not lock horns and go at it? You know.
yeah,
So I just think obviously it's not ideal. I mean, I can't imagine Usyk's the cheapest guy in the world to bring over to the UK.
yeah,
And rightly so, he shouldn't be. But you know, you've got to find a way to make these big fights work, and that's what these promoters have done. I mean, Frank Warren's found ways to do it. Eddie Hearn's found ways to do it. Top Rank's found
yeah,
ways to do it. PBC have found ways to do it. Loads of McKennesy's found ways to do it.
yeah,
Not that I would say that his fights are the biggest fights, but yeah, like they've all found ways to put fights on behind closed doors. So there are ways to do it, but
yeah,
be interesting to see how it all pans out. But which is hopeful. I know there's been talk of potentially fighting other guys if the Usyk fight don't turn out, but you know, we're obviously 100% focused on trying to get Usyk, because Usyk is your golden ticket, should I say, to fighting title. Maybe who says that? So if you win a WBO interim title and none of them can fight you because, let's say, they're wrapped up in their rematch clause, or let's say there was a controversy in the second one, then they have a third one and whatnot, then the WBO interim champion gets awarded the world title. That's what happens, right? The same happened with Alex Arthur. It's happened with numerous other fighters as well. Now, obviously, that's not the way that ideally you would like to win a WBO or world title, but essentially beating Usyk, it's not like he's beating some cannon fodder, like who's ranked number 15 in the organisation or something, to get the title. Beating Usyk should warrant really a world title anyway.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a great fighter. So I don't think people would look at it as Joe as not a real champion for that. But let's see. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, because Joe would love nothing else more than have to face Joshua or Fury. He's done numerous upon numerous rounds with both.
Yeah.
And believe me, he's always been in competitive good spars with them. So he will 100% believe that he could go in there and beat either of them.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, hopefully that can be made. Obviously, he's back in the gym, so that's positive signs, and obviously positive talks, which is good. And hopefully we can see him. I know there was others that have been floating around. I think Andy Ruiz was one of them that was floating around.
Who's the other one? Sorry,
Andy Ruiz Jr. He popped up
Joe?
again. Yeah, with Joe. That was something that was floating around, but I think
I mean, that would be a good fight. I think
it would definitely be a good fight, especially he's under Canelo management as well. So his team, he seems to he's actually taking it seriously again. So
yeah, I mean, that'd be a good fight. I don't know what's going on with Andy Ruiz. I've been hearing a lot about him and Deontay Wilder as well, but not a fight that I think Deontay Wilder would take. But Andy Ruiz, that'd be a good fight. I mean, there's talks of Chisora, because obviously he hasn't got a contract with Sky. It could be on BT. It'd be a big fight. But if we're being honest, Joe wants to fight Usyk. Yeah. He's making that very clear. So first and foremost, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
WBO are going to order that as well, I believe, potentially. Well, I think they are. So it's just a fight everyone needs and wants. And I think Usyk will probably look at Joe and think that he can beat him. So, I think Usyk would probably deep down want that fight if he can't get the AJ or Fury fight, which obviously he isn't. So I think that's what he will look to do. So we can get that fight made in the near future, but we'll see. Boxing's a funny old sport, man. One time something's going one way and then it goes completely the other way. So you never really know, but we can hope for sure.
Yeah. So obviously another fighter, Florian Marco.
Yeah.
I missed the fight. I went in to the arena after the Florian Marco fight, but I was watching it before coming in, and I actually left watching it to go down, and I thought he had won when he got the knockdown. When he was on the ground, I thought, that's it, over. And obviously it come out, and it was actually awarded as a draw, which my opinion is that I don't know how they come to a draw at all. To be honest,
it's a weird one. I mean, boxing, it happens sometimes, man. You know what it is? I think there is a bit of an agenda against Florian Marco. I'm not too sure why that is, but Florian, I thought, you know what, that wasn't even 10% of what he can do. He would admit himself it was an off night for him, and it was an off night, and he still dominated the fight. I couldn't give Stewart more than 2 rounds, if I'm being completely honest, and I think even then I was being generous. Fair play to him. He's tough. He came in at no, isn't a dig at him at all. But for being honest, he got gifted a draw, and that's it. And it's frustrating, but it's a sport, man. It happens. I could name hundreds of other fights that's happened to. So you can't sit and cry about it and get too upset over it. You just got to wipe your mouth clean and move on to the next one. And we've got the next one, Ryan and Cholm, which is a good fight. And believe me, Florian's looking better than he's ever looked. So as far as that goes, that's what I think about it, really. Like, that's what it is. It's not Stewart's fault. It's not his team's fault, even though he said afterwards that he deserved a draw or whatnot. But he's going to say that. But it's I think poor decision from the referee, and that's it. But you know what? Sometimes referees and judges or whatnot are going to get things wrong. It's like if you're a bus driver, you might go the wrong route one day and make mistakes. People make mistakes in all walks of life, whatever their job is. Even though it's a bit more costly in boxing, because obviously you only get one shot and it's on your record forever. But you know,
Yeah.
Hopefully next time that he fights, or the time after that, then they'll actually be paying attention properly, because that was an absolutely poor decision. But
Yeah.
you know, we move on, man. We've moved past that now. So.
And with Florian, how was his mental state on that? Has he just taken it? Well, okay, it's a draw. It's gone on my record, and I'm going to use that to my advantage now. Is that the mentality? Because I find him as a fighter that he's just so straight laced and to the point, and he's so focused on what he wants to achieve. So is he using that to his advantage in the gym?
Yeah, I mean, Florian's a really, really proud man from Albania. A really, really proud man, and you know, obviously it would have hurt him a little bit to begin with, because he's, like I said, he's a very proud person, and obviously, and secondly, he won the fight. So
yeah,
of course it's gonna upset him and hurt him a bit. But like I said, we've moved on now. He's got another fight date scheduled against a tough opponent. His biggest step up to date, and he's more than ready for it. I mean, he's training great up in Derby. He's got a great conditioning team up there. He's got very good training up there. He's getting very good sparring. And I speak to him pretty much every other day, and he tells me how happy he is, how much he's learning. So that in itself shows you that he probably got over it, because he seems like he's really happy. And it just probably made him even more hungry to make sure he puts on an even better performance next time. And that's it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Not everyone's going to look $1 million every time they fight, no matter what level or what fighter you are. But as long as you can learn from the mistakes that maybe you did make in these last fight, and then put him into the next one. And he's doing well so far. So fair play to him. And that's it.
Has he got...
But you know what? He wants to do so well. I've never seen him try so hard every day. He wants to do so well, and he puts a lot of pressure on himself to do that. But yeah, no, so it's looking good for him. It's looking good. But yeah,
what's the targets for Florian this year? What's he aiming for? What's been set out for him, or is it just take fight by fight and go from there?
Well, yeah, I mean, Florian's got to be one in style as well. It's not good just beating him about on point or something. You know, beat him in style, and then we can look at some bigger fights. We can look at some of the bigger names in the division and see where we go from there. We want titles. That's what we want. Whoever wants to fight us, believe it or not, it's not very easy to matchmake Florian. You know, a lot of people don't want to fight him. So
yeah,
but whoever gives us titles, that's what we want. That's it. That's all we want. Like whoever that is, he'll be in there against them. So
yeah, no, definitely. And touching back on like heavyweight boxing, obviously there's a lot of talk now that after Joshua beat Pulev back in December, obviously that it's now pretty much set. I think the only thing that's holding it up now is the Wilder like lawsuit, or you know what the contractual dispute, should I say, that's going on. If that fight is made, obviously it's going to be the biggest fight this side of the century for heavyweight boxing, British boxing, you could say as well. How do you actually see that panning out? Because Joshua isn't really an upfront character. He just gets on with it. He's just motivated to just get in the ring, do the job. Whereas Fury, you know, we know he's dressed up as Batman at, you know, press conferences. He's you know, come in with, you know, Mexican sombreros and come in on a throne, you know, to the ring and things like that. So he's a big personality compared to Joshua, I'd say. How do you actually see that one panning out if the fight gets made, which we all hope it does this year?
yeah, I do expect that fight to get made very soon. Fury's already made it clear he's never going to fight Wilder again. So I think even if I don't know how all the proceedings and that go, but I think worst comes to worst, I think he'll get like a small compensation fee.
Yeah.
I say a small compensation fee. It's not small to what I earn, but it's small to but yeah. So I don't think that's going to jeopardise the fight at all, if I'm honest. So yeah, I think the fight's ready to go. I think, you know what? I've said it ever since Tyson's debut. I've always been a massive fan of Tyson Fury. I've been lucky enough to meet him on many number of occasions and got to know him a little bit. And I just think there's not a man that can beat him, and a woman. But yeah, I just think that he's got an answer for everything. He's one of those guys that will always find a way to win, no matter what kind of position they're in. He's just you got to look down Fury's ancestry. Like, It's fighters, fighters, fighters,
Mm.
fighters, fighters. He was born. That is literally what he was put on planet Earth to do. Yeah, and that's all it's ever been since he was a kid. And I just think, just like he's shown that he's got an unbelievable chin. He's shown that he's got a great engine. He's shown that he's got great skill. He's shown that he can whack. I just almost don't know what you really do to him. To be honest, it's a tough one. But then again, Joshua deserves a lot of respect. Joshua has gone back to the drawing board, made a lot of improvements. I do believe that mentally this is a blockage there for him still. I think you could see that a little bit in the Pulo fight potentially.
Yeah.
And that could be a problem. But I do have to back Fury, and I do have to back Fury by stoppage or potentially a bang knockout KO as well, because I think Fury's clever and can break something like that down. It's not even just breaking him down physically, it's mentally as well. It's all the press you'd have to deal with Fury, saying random shit, talking about random things. Eventually it'll get into your head after a long training camp, and then you've got to go in there and he'll be taunting with you, playing mind games and stuff. It's very hard to get past things like that, by the looks of things anyway. I mean, and like I said, I think he's just got an answer for everything. He hasn't really got a weakness, in my opinion. But you know, again, it's a world heavyweight, it's an undisputed heavyweight title fight. So they both are obviously very, very good fighters, elite fighters. So anything can happen. Joshua can really whack. I mean, he can put combinations together, which maybe Wilder couldn't really do. And maybe that's the way that you beat Fury. I don't know, but I just think that Fury's feet are far too fast. Someone like Joshua, his hands are too fast, his reactions are too fast. I just think that Joshua, to win that fight, is going to have to take a lot of risks. And I just think those risks are really going to walk into someone like Fury's favour. Because what I would imagine, it would be like a fight where Fury starts to take like the opening 3 or 4 rounds in. And then Joshua starts to think in himself, he's going to have to start coming forward now and start taking a few more risks. And that's when I think you work in someone like Fury's hands. But you know what? It's such an intriguing fight. Yeah. Fury would have been, I think, almost 18 months inactive.
Yeah.
By then. No, not 18 months, about 15, 16 months inactive.
16, yeah.
As well. So it's interesting, but a really, really exciting fight. Really, really exciting fight. And you know what? Joshua's improving all the time. Like, his feet got a lot better. And stuff. So who knows if he's improved quite a bit more since December by that time that fight comes in. Maybe he's had a few more things to his game. You know, it's a really, really interesting fight.
Yeah,
like, really interesting. Everyone knows it, but yeah, no, it's really interesting. But I'd have to back Fury for sure.
Yeah, I think the only time that I've seen Fury close to not being at his best was when he fought. I can't remember his name. I want to say
Valen.
Yeah. Was when he had that cut and you just thought, this is it. I don't know how. And obviously his cut man was unbelievable and got him through that fight really more than anything, because I think he was ready to be pulled if it wasn't for his cut man. So that's the only time I've seen Fury with any sort of damage, and it'll be interesting to see what Joshua's mental state's like, coping with the constant nature of Fury just playing mind games.
Fury done that Otto Valen fight completely wrong though. I think he came in far too light, far too light. He looked tired in there. I mean, obviously the cut didn't help. Also, Otto Valen is actually a really underrated fighter as well, by the way. I've known he's been good ever since the amateur days. I remember watching him as an amateur. Very good fighter. Like, don't get me wrong, he's definitely a very good fighter. Like, he just hadn't had the fights to show that yet. And then that was his time to show it. And do you know what? Some people have argued that maybe Valen should have won that fight, because most certainly if that cut was on Valen, I think the referee would have stopped it. So, you know, I just think obviously Chris Fury was still winning the rounds, which he was. I think that's probably the reason why they left him in there, which is fair enough. It worked out in the end, didn't it? So but yeah, no, I just think that if you were going to get Fury, man, you had to get him before. You had to get him when he had just come back. Maybe like that first Wilder fight, that was the time to get Fury.
Yeah.
He wasn't strong. He wasn't completely fit. Like, his skin, like, it wasn't very good. Like, everything was just going wrong for him at that time. Not wrong for him, but it's just like he had worked and trained so hard to get all that weight off, and it takes a lot of you. It makes you very tired. Like, you see it. That was the time to get him. And now he is what he is now. And he's just added, he's been everyone that's going to keep learning more. When you add a new trainer to your team, you get all the knowledge you got off your other ones still. That never leaves you. That's always in your head.
Yeah.
Now you've got a new one that is a very good trainer that is the nephew of one of the best trainers of all time, probably the best trainer of all time, arguably Emmanuel Stewart. And now he's got him adding stuff in there.
Yeah.
So, we only gained from stuff like that. Like, he would have taken stuff off Peter Fury, well, loads of Peter Fury. His other uncle that he started with, Huey Fury. He would have taken stuff off Ben Davidson. He would have taken, and now he's going to be taking stuff off Sugar Hill.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? I think Fury's one of those guys who genuinely doesn't even need a boxing trainer. I think he just needs a guy that genuinely just does pads with him and maybe talks through things with him and stuff like that. There's not many people in the world that know boxing better than Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
Billy Joe Saunders is the same kind of man. Like, they're so clever and know all the ins and outs of the sport.
Yeah.
That they don't really need like someone else to tell them what to do. I don't think. Maybe it's good to have a guide and have someone else's opinion.
Yeah.
But that's what I think of them, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's going to come down to weight, because Joshua's proven that when he bulks out, he's not at his best, and his prime weight is what he's been in the last 2 fights. He's just been in unbelievable shape. That's the shape he was right at the start of his career. The only thing that I've got a concern with Fury is, as I said and you said, he's kind of the all-round perfect package for a boxer, is his weight, because in the gym, I think it was a video or some photographs of him the other day in his new gym that he's got. He just looks lean, and I don't know whether that would be a disadvantage like it was in the other fight, or whether it's going to play advantage with Joshua's weight.
It's the style of fight you're choosing to fight. So, obviously against Wilder, he wanted to stand and trade in the middle. That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He knew that Wilder couldn't punch at short range. So that's when he put on more weight and become a lot stronger. That's what he did. I don't think he'd be silly enough to stand in the pocket with Joshua, because Joshua can throw combinations and punch from the inside. And obviously the plan is, and it would be the plan to fight Joshua, is to box on the outside, and that's all. And to box on the outside, you've got to be able to have, you've got to be light, so you can do it for 12 rounds, and you've got to be fit, and you've got to be strong.
Yeah.
I think that's why Fury would be a lot lighter than, well, I wouldn't say a lot lighter, but I'd expect him to be at least a stone lighter.
Yeah.
By AJ than what he was against Wilder, because it's two completely different styles that he's going to be using.
Oh yeah.
In that fight.
Yeah, definitely. And where would you like to hope to see that? Obviously, everyone wants to see it here, but obviously with the current situation, I don't know whether that's going to be doable or not. Obviously, Wembley Stadium, potentially 100,000 people there. Where would you like to see it? Would it be Wembley or?
I mean, obviously, in an ideal world, it would be at Wembley Stadium, but it's just not realistic. I mean, I'm here in Singapore. I'm here in Saudi. I'm hearing it's a bit of a battle between the two. And do you know what? Fair play to them, man. Go in there and earn the most money you can earn. Fight there. Why should we have it here when we don't even know if we're going to have a crowd, for starters, which we probably won't realistically? And for what? Like, Rigat fought Mayweather in Vegas because the most money there. Like, you got to go with the most money. Boxing's a short career. Yeah, people might say, well, they've already got money. Yeah, they have already got money, but let's earn even more money. Why not? They're the ones in there risking their life and their health. So who are we to say, yeah, just fight at Wembley Stadium and fight that? Listen, we should be happy with even getting that fight, yeah, because there's been many other different areas where great fights should have happened and they haven't, yeah. So just be happy that they're going to get it on.
Yeah. You
got two fighters at the top of the tree that are so eager to get it on. Like, whatever that fight is, it could be on Mars for all I care. As long as it's an even playing field for both, and they both get it on, then I'm not going to complain. But and also they should go where it earns the most money. That's it. Like, we're in this sport, which is a hard sport, and barely any fighters get to the top to earn that kind of money. So let them go and earn the most. Maybe they can have the rematch at Wembley. That would make better sense, wouldn't it? Have one in Saudi or Singapore, earn ridiculous money like they deserve. Then have another one at Wembley, and it would be an even bigger fight, a rematch anyway. So
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I've heard stuff like 150 million pounds is what they're talking per fighter. So it's crazy. It's not money that we're going to be able to sadly match in the UK, really, and obviously the fans are quite a big draw to make that kind of pot. So it's a difficult one. As long as the fight's made, I think that's all us fans really care about.
You know what? We don't know if crowds are going to be here. I mean, we definitely know you're not going to be allowed 90,000 or 100,000 at Wembley in May. That's something they're saying. Pubs might not even be open in May, so that's nothing that's going to happen. Like, what are they going to say? What, you can have 900 people in Wembley Stadium or something? It's ridiculous. Like, go to another country and earn silly money, and then rematch here maybe, because maybe by the time they rematch in September, October, whenever it is, we might be allowed a crowd here, like because of the vaccines and stuff. But it's just not going to happen. So, and do you know what it is? It's only ourselves to blame why that's not going to happen. So, like our government and everything else, that should have happened here. And also, our country don't put up fees for things like that. Other countries will put up like a fee to stage like a massive event.
Yeah.
Whereas our country doesn't do things like that. So I'm not saying that they should do that. I'm just saying that they won't.
Yeah.
So especially in these times, anyway. So
yeah, the only one that they've done was the Joshua Klitschko, and it was 90,000 people there. That was the only one that they put some money towards, because the mayor of London said we'll open the tubes and we'll put on public transport, everything like that. They done, and they put a fee towards that. So that was the only one that I can recall that we've actually ever done anything.
Yeah, I know, it's a shame, really. Like, obviously, ideally, it should be. It's a battle of Britain, and it's going to happen in a Middle Eastern country. Like, it does sound a bit silly, but at the end of the day, money talks, man. That's what it is. If like business and sports entertainment, it's all about money.
Yeah,
and that's what happened there. And I mean, I wouldn't write it off there happening twice. It was a great fight, but I mean, hopefully, it can happen here. But it just means that for the first one, when I do go, I'm going to have to pay a lot more money to go. But you know what?
yeah.
So I just want to see the fight. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, just before I let you go, what other fight is there that you're looking forward to this year, other than obviously the Tyson Fury, Joshua, possibly Joyce, and Usyk? Is there another one that stands out for you that could probably
move? Our super middleweight, he has been mandated for the European title.
Okay.
Against De Carolis, who's a former WBA world champion, which is a very good win.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's hopefully going to be announced soon. I think purse bids are in a month, maybe, or maybe a lot. Maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe it's in a few weeks. But yeah, purse bids or whatever. Then we'll find out where that fight's happening and who's putting it on. It's a very good fight for the European title, and European title gets you in the top 5 in WBC. And then we'll be looking towards getting Lorraine the world title shot maybe at the end of this year, early next year. Johnny Fisher, our heavyweight, is set to make his matchroom debut. That's a really exciting one. Johnny, really, really one of the nicest blokes you ever meet, and worked really hard, a good listener, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him make his pro debut. We have Solomon Dacres, who's another heavyweight we've signed, GB squad heavyweight, and he's making his matchroom he's making his debut on the matchroom soon, in the next month or two, I think. And you've got John Hedges having his second pro fight in April, I believe it is, which should be another good run up for him. Hopefully, look a bit better than the first one. And yeah, so it's really good, man. Really busy times, really. Yeah, everyone's pretty much getting active. We've got our heavyweight in America, Guido Vinello, who signed the top rank. He'll be getting out again soon. So it's good. I'm looking forward to all them fights. Obviously, Billy Joe Saunders Canelo, which I believe is being done, is another fight I'm going to hope to get out for. Hopefully, if I'm allowed. And that's another fight I'm really excited for. You know what? I think if there's anyone to beat Canelo, it will be Billy Joe Saunders. I'm not necessarily saying that Billy Joe will beat him, but if there anyone is to do it, it'll be him. So
yeah,
I just think stylistically, slick southpaw, nightmare for anyone. If he's 100%, he can beat anyone in his day. So it'll be a really good fight, and it'll be interesting. So that's probably the other one I'm really looking forward to. Right now, other than that, I can't really think of too many other good fights that have actually been scheduled as of yet.
Yeah,
I want to see the Gervonta Davis against Teofimo Lopez fight, or Ryan Garcia. But I don't know. I'm not too hopeful of that in this year, to be honest.
I don't happen. Not this year, anyway.
I can see them all just fighting random fighters again, random guys in their top 15 rankings and whatnot. I don't think you're going to see Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney either. Like I said, I think you can just see them all fighting random fighters. I think you might end up seeing, and this might be a really random one considering he lost to Ryan Garcia, but I can see Devin Haney fighting Luke Campbell or something.
Okay.
It would still be Devin Haney's best win for a start.
Yeah.
He's got a well-known name in the US, well-known name in the UK. I just think it'd be a good fight for him.
Yeah.
and to try and look better than what Ryan Garcia and Lomachenko did. Because I just think that obviously Ryan Garcia ain't going to fight him, so why not?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's a good one to watch out. Very good shout.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so it'll be an interesting year, obviously a busy year. I think, a lot of that was helped with getting the fights back behind closed doors and, being able to operate them safely. So hopefully that rolls into this year and it, get those crowds back as and when we can. But yeah, some very big fights, and more so hopefully Joyce gets that big shot and be one away from the undisputed potentially.
That's the plan, man. Hopefully we can get that fight done. That'd be really, really good. I'd be really, really over the moon with that. But we'll see how we get on with it. These fights are not easy to make, especially in these times. But I believe in the team that can get it done. I believe Usyk's a reasonable guy, and I believe he will fight anyone anywhere because he's shown that for his whole career. So, and I mean, he's going to want to fight someone before he fights. Before he, like, in his mind, fights Joshua or Fury. Not that I believe he would. I believe if he fought Joyce would beat him.
Yeah.
But he's going to fight still. He's going to want to stay active, and he's going to want to have another fight against a proper heavyweight. And that'll be his first fight against a proper heavyweight. Because I mean, Chisora is a small heavyweight. Against a big, strong heavyweight, and that would, in his mind, should put him in a good stead for a fight against AJ or Fury. But obviously, I don't believe he beats Joyce. So, but that's the way that Usyk would probably look at it. Yeah,
no, definitely. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been good to catch up again. Hopefully we'll catch up again soon once we get a few more announcements made. And been interesting.
100%, man. Take care, yeah?
All right. Speak to you later.
Sorry.